Welcome back to Jay vs. Horror. I'm your host, Jay Wall, and today, guys, we're going to be covering the top 10 horror films of 2019. I should say my top 10 horror films of 2019 because very few of you are going to agree with me on this year. There were a lot of films from this year that other people loved that I just was not a fan of. There's also a few movies on my list that you may have never heard of before, so that's kind of where I'm at with 2019. And just to give you guys a little bit of an example, I do not have Tigers Are Not Afraid on this list. I like that film, but I just feel like it's more of a dramatic film for me. I do not have Bliss, the 2019 vampire film, on here. I was not a fan of the performances from the actors in the lead roles. Ready or Not was another film I did not put on this list. I know a lot of people loved it, but for me it was just too much slapstick and not enough horror. Once again, guys, just my opinion. Let's get started with my top 10 horror films of 2019. At number 10, Harpoon. It's a Canadian horror comedy film written and directed by Rob Grant. The film stars Monroe Chambers, Emily Tyra, and Christopher Gray, and it's about three friends who find themselves stranded on a yacht in the middle of the ocean with no food or water when rivalries, dark secrets, and strange sexual tensions emerge. Harpoon is a strange film. It starts off as kind of a B-level movie that works itself into something much more. A grade A thriller that will leave your jaw on the ground. Let's take a look at the trailer for Harpoon.
Hey.
This is Jonah. This is Jonah's best friend, Richard. And this is Richard's long-term partner, Sasha. And with that, just like they always did, our trio returned to their instinctual roles.
Okay, let's make a deal. I grovel and pamper you guys unconditionally, and you just try to remember a time before I went eat. I want a free punch.
Yes, deal.
Why are you encouraging this?
And when I think of you,
You know, someone once told me, the sea finds out everything you've done wrong. And these three have been pushing their luck from the very start.
We need to make a better deal. We need to promise not to kill each other.
cause when I think of you, there's no wind to the in my.
That can't be good. Sasha, what do we do?
We gotta stop the infection from reaching his heart.
You mean
At number 9, Nightmare Cinema. It's an American horror anthology featuring work by some great directors, including names like Joe Dante and Mick Garris. The film is constructed of 5 segments, and basically we see 5 strangers converge at a haunted movie theater owned by the Projectionist, played by Mickey Rourke. Once inside, the audience members witness a series of screenings that shows them their deepest fears and darkest secrets. Now, guys, as with all anthology films, some segments are a little better than others. But I feel like all 5 of these are pretty damn strong in Nightmare Cinema. I thought it was easily the best anthology of 2019. Let's take a look at the trailer for Nightmare Cinema.
I'm the projectionist, and the curator of 100 years of nightmares, trapped in a silver screen that never forgets. Welcome to my nightmare.
Come and get me, bitch!
Number 8, It Chapter 2. It's an American supernatural horror film and a sequel to the 2017 film titled It, of course, both based on the 1986 novel by Stephen King. The film is directed by Andy Muschietti, returning from the first film with a screenplay by Gary Dauberman, set in 2016, 27 years after the events of the first film. It stars Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Hader, and Bill Skarsgård, who returns as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. This is, of course, the second installment of the It film series. We don't know if there's going to be a third. There's been some talk about a third chapter that would kind of be a prequel. This one centers on the Losers Club reuniting after almost 3 decades to take on their childhood trauma, a monster that lives in the dairy sewer called It. Now, guys, I can't say I was a huge fan of this film. It's nowhere near as good as the first chapter was. And the CGI is definitely a little heavy-handed in this film. We do have a wonderful cast here, though, and a great wrap-up to one of the scariest stories of all time. Let's take a look at the trailer for It Chapter 2.
Something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. But me, I never left. I remember all of it.
To the losers.
We made an oath.
Swear? If it isn't dead, if it ever comes back, we'll come back to it.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The clown.
We can't let it happen again.
Hello?
Kid! Hello. Please.
For 27 years, I dreamt of you. I craved you. I missed you.
We need to finish it. For good.
I've seen all of us die. It consumes us from the inside until we don't have a choice anymore.
You lied. And I died. You lied. And I died.
At number 7, Us. It's an American supernatural horror film written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss, and Tim Heidecker. The film follows Adelaide Wilson, played by Nyong'o, and her family, who are attacked by a menacing group of doppelgangers. And just to be honest, guys, here again, I was not a very big fan of this film. I thought it had a lot of plot holes, it defied its own logic, and ultimately just kind of came off silly to me. However, I did not come here to rip the film apart. We'll save that for another day. I do see its underlying value, and it has great performances and excellent direction here from Jordan Peele. As long as you don't think about this one too much, guys, or try to pick it apart, it's a fun movie. Let's take a look at the trailer for Us.
To take the date out of the bag.
That's a classic right there.
Messing with that ain't no
I got 5 on it, mean.
It's about drugs.
It's not about drugs. It's a dope song. Don't do drugs.
Get in rhythm. There you go. There you go. Can't believe how big they've got.
Did you hear Gabe got a boat?
He's kidding, right?
He's not kidding.
Hey, I think it's vodka o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Jason?
Jason?
Jason! Where were you?
I didn't know if you were lost. Stick with me, and I'll keep you safe.
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared of a family? Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy. What are you people?
It's us.
They look exactly like us. They think like us. They know where we are. We need to move and keep moving. They won't stop until they kill us. Or we kill them.
Be careful.
At number 6, Child's Play. It's an American slasher film written by Tyler Burton Smith and directed by Lars Klevberg. It's of course an adaptation to some degree of the 1988 film of the same name. A lot of people call it a reboot or a remake. For me, it went in a totally different direction, and I wish they'd even gone further in that direction. I wish they'd have changed the name of this doll from Chucky to something else, maybe even Buddy, and stuck with that. I think the more they separated themselves from the original franchise, the more enjoyable this film was. It follows a family terrorized by a high-tech murderous doll who becomes self-aware. The film stars Aubrey Plaza, Gabriel Bateman, Brian Tyree Henry, and Tim Matheson, along with Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky. Some of the biggest differences between this and the original are, of course, in this film, Chucky is suffering from a technological problem and not being possessed by a maniacal serial killer. Also, in this film, Chucky starts off pretty nice at the beginning, which is kind of odd. You kind of see him devolve into an evil character. All right, horror fans, let's take a look at the trailer for Child's Play.
Something's wrong with Chucky.
Andy, I know this move has been really tough, but this is supposed to be a new start for us, remember? You said you were going to try to make new friends.
Buddy can connect to and control all of your Caslin products and smart home devices. Introducing your new best friend.
Mom, I need to tell you something, and I need you to believe me. I think Chucky did something.
Andy, if you know something, you better tell me.
Something's wrong with Chucky.
Buddy can connect to and control all of your Caslin products.
Chucky is a toy.
He could be anywhere.
Welcome to Castle and Carve.
We have to stop him.
Good night, Andy. At number 5, Haunt. It's an American slasher film written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It stars Katie Stevens, Will Britton, Lauren McLean, and Damian Maffei. The film revolves around a group of teenagers who attend a haunted attraction only to find out that it's a murderous trap run by masked psychopaths. A few months ago, I was lucky enough to be able to interview Damian Maffei, who plays one of the main antagonists in this film, the Red Devil. We had a great conversation about how the monsters in this film are far more terrifying underneath their mask. Damian is also playing one of the main bad guys in the upcoming Wrong Turn reboot. So if you guys get a chance, check out that interview. It is here on the channel. And let's take a look at the trailer for one of my favorite new age slashers, Haunt.
This cannot be ignored.
Yes, we're doing it.
It's the end. Say goodbye.
Is this supposed to be scary?
We just want to leave.
Please don't hurt me.
Do you want to see my face?
At number 4, Midsummer. It's a folk horror film written and directed by Ari Aster. It stars Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, William Jackson Harper, and Will Poulter. It follows a group of friends who travel to Sweden for a festival that occurs once every 90 years, only to find themselves in the clutches of a Scandinavian neo-pagan cult. This is another one that I had a few problems with, guys, but it is beautifully shot, wonderfully acted, and I think if you cut maybe 30 minutes of the stylistic aspect of this film out, you'd have one hell of a great horror film. Let's take a look at the trailer for Midsummer.
I told you that I want to go to that festival in Sweden.
No, you said it would be cool to go.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity and I decided
Look,
to
I
do
don't mind
it.
you going. I just wish you would have told me, that's all.
Dude, she needs a therapist. You've been wanting out of this stupid relationship for like a year now.
And don't forget about all of the beautiful Swedish women you'll meet in June.
Okay, guys.
That's not her again. Seriously?
Babe, what's happening? Danny.
I was so very sorry to hear about what happened.
I'm sorry.
I invited Danny to come to Sweden. You know what she's been going through.
Christian says you've got this special week planned.
It's sort of a crazy festival. Special ceremonies and dressing up.
That sounds fun.
Unbelievable.
Welcome and happy midsummer. Skål!
What time is it?
9 p.m.
That can't be right. The sky is blue.
This is what 9 p.m. is like here.
How long have you two been together?
Just over 3.5 years.
4 years.
Really?
Yeah?
What do you think?
It's like another world.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Is it scary?
What is it?
It has special properties.
What am I going through?
We just need to acclimate.
I don't want to acclimate. I want to go.
Absolutely not.
What's happening? I don't know why you invited us.
That's why you look so guilty right now, because you know.
We only do this every 90 years. I was most excited for you to come.
At number 3, The Lighthouse. It's a psychological horror thriller film written and directed by Robert Idris. It stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson as two lighthouse keepers who start to lose their sanity when a storm strands them on a remote island where they are stationed alone. The Lighthouse is shot in black and white. It's a little weird, guys. It can be a little slow, but I think the performances here are top-notch, and this is the film that sold me on Robert Pattinson being the new Batman. Let's take a look at the trailer for The Lighthouse.
Tell me, what's a timberman want with being a wickie?
Just looking to earn a living, just like any man. Starting new.
On the run. Keeping secrets, are you?
No, sir.
Why don't you spill your beans? Why don't you spill your beans? Why don't you spill your beans? How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect.
At number 2, Depraved. It's an American horror film written and directed by Larry Fessenden and starring David Call and Joshua Leonard. And in short, horror fans, Depraved is a modern version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that is done very well. The film has an emotional depth that you don't see from a lot of horror films these days, and it tells the story of a man whose life is repeatedly ripped away from him for science. Definitely one of my favorites from 2019 and one of the most underrated horror films of the last decade. Let's take a look at the trailer for Depraved.
I figured it out. I figured out how to bring them back.
And so it begins. While others are dealing with molecular science, DNA, petri dishes, we're in here dealing with blood and guts, extreme sports of biology. Can you talk?
Fred.
My God, yes.
Stay here. You will not leave until we are ready. Be safe.
So what happened to you? Those are a lot of scars.
I don't understand how I got here.
You must be so alone.
I read books.
Are you all right? Don't try any funny business.
my dreams from someone else.
I owe you something like a normal life. I didn't believe that you would ever understand what was happening to you.
Oh!
Where the hell were you?
We were out on the town.
All night?
Maybe not cut out for fatherhood.
Who can you even trust with this?
Here we have man's essential impulse, violence. Depraved. That's what we are. Utterly depraved.
It was you! It was you who made me what I am!
All right, guys, we are almost at the end. Now, before we get to number one, I want to ask you guys to go check out our Patreon page. Patreon is a way where fans can help support their favorite shows, including podcasts and videocasts. Anyone who donates $2 or more will make it onto our Patreon show, where we will do an exclusive review just for you, or we will talk about a topic that you want us to discuss. Now, let's get to number one. At number one, I have Dr. Sleep. It's a supernatural horror film written and directed by Mike Flanagan and is, of course, based on the 2013 novel of the same name by Stephen King. It's a sequel to King's 1977 novel, The Shining, and the film is an adaptation of the 1980 film, The Shining. In the movie, Dan Torrance, now an adult, must protect a young girl named Abra with similar powers from a cult known as the True Knot, whose members prey on children to extend their lives. Guys, I was nervous when this one came out. I am a huge fan of the book, and I didn't understand if this was going to be a sequel to the novel or to the film from 1980, and it is, of course, a sequel to the film, which means a great deal of the last third of the book had to be changed to make sense in the movie. However, for me, guys, it is done perfectly. I even enjoy the ending to the movie far more than I enjoyed the ending to the book, which is one of my favorite all-time books. The film is also cast perfectly, with Ewan McGregor playing Danny Torrance and Rebecca Ferguson as one of the best new villains of the last decade, Rose the Hat. This film will make you sad, it will piss you off, and will ultimately leave a big impact on most viewers. Let's take a look at my favorite film from 2019, Dr. Sleep.
Just talk to the kid.
You're magic. Like me.
I need you to listen to me. The world's a hungry place. A dark place.
Hi there.
I only met 2 or 3 people like us. They died. When I was a kid, I bumped into these things. I don't know about magic. I always called it The Shining.
fans, that's all we've got for this episode. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe. Guys, we are 19 steps into our 21-step journey to name the top 10 films of the last 2 decades. We have 2 shows left. Now, our next show is going to be an extended show. It's going to be very long because it is the top 10 films of 2020. And instead of just doing a top 10, we've decided to go further out and do a top 25 so you guys can get out there and see some of the titles from this year that you may have missed. After that, our last show will be on New Year's Day, where we will unveil the top 10 films of the past 2 decades. And as always, Horror Hounds, we will talk to you the next time we've got something worth talking about. Bye.